Yes, I wrote a poem about the moon. So also when Omar was talking about, I need poets that write about the moon, says, telling we found each other. The medallion moon looped itself through a threadbare ribbon of cloud, fixed in place by the fingerprints of night, and snapped shut in the velvet box of the sky. Inside, I watch her unravel her headscarf, fingering, fumbling, slow, meticulous, like uncovering an ancient tomb. She pressed the perspiration away from her temples. Her hair, once henna gold, now a dull coin, lifted from its burial purse of sand and dust. A black pebble was placed beside her bed when she was no longer able to wash, its oily sheen like an open seal, reflecting the moon's glare. It stole solar light to comfort her as she tossed in fever, as alley cats scratched the corrugated roof. She stroked its grey, greasy head as if water sluiced from the stone and carried imaginary drops to her parched body, then withered back under sheets like a sun-sapped weed or salted snail, repellent in its shell. The light no longer reached her corner. Family came to hold her curled hand in the dark. Outside, the sea gloriously chanted the names of all it drowned. It was then, for the first time, Yumma sounded only like a murmur, and the moon was handed out in pieces like all of her gold. Thank you. This poem about my grandfather hasn't been published, but he turned 101 years old. I think the Mediterranean diet and things make them live a lot longer. Last year, and then he passed last year. It starts with a quote from Tishani Doshi. It is a way of letting death know we mean to hold on. Still in colloidal silver, 2021, my grandfather has just turned 101 years old. I find this utterly remarkable in such a live reckless, die young Anthropocene era. Yes, 101 years around the sun. And with him, I think the secret is contentment. The man who woke up early every morning to bring everyone fresh bread. He had always just been happily settled in acts of service, and his image has not shapeshifted since he first taught me to play bottle caps in the dust when I was a child. Does anyone really want to harness immortality? I'm not sure, but I think that the world harbors some spirits that are very attached to this life and that are stubborn to leave. Not that I want him to, silly, but as Vincent said to his brother Theo in his letters asking for more sulfur yellow from the asylum, I am surprised that I have survived this long. And seeing him, vessel strong and mind fit, he holds a century and more of immovable ghosts. Never underestimate the power of human resilience, noticed at its finest. Omar Ayashi, born in the Constantine Mountains, has never left his country or the earth in 101 years. Okay, I have two more poems for you. One is about the explosion in Lebanon in August in 2020, and I will end with a love poem because I think love saves the world. In a country that has died continuously, today Beirut takes another hit. From hoarded ammonium nitrate confiscated from a Russian cargo ship kept in storage for 7 years at its scenic port in the harbor. As chemicals react, heat in the COVID sun, first there is a small bang, followed by a much larger one. A cauliflower floret of smoke rises, not dissimilar to something nuclear. People filmed the fire from a distance until the explosion exhaled into a quick cloud and car windows suddenly sucked into themselves, as if the entire sea had been contained in a bubble. It burst choke-full like a balloon across the land, causing even the furthest away to leap or to dismantle into cover as debris fired like a rain of bullets punching holes into any surface it reached. Shrapnel in the streets, states of shock, crisis on top of crisis. 3,000 homes snatched, ceilings fell on hospital patients, buildings shook, trucks upturned, flames spread through warehouses. Smoke breached sunset, streets cobbled in danger, balconies released their stand, sound splinters as it moves to crack open apartments. Lockdown blew apart, all are forced to flee, escaping glass, saving beloveds. On hospital wards in catastrophe and panic, parents pulled out the intravenous drips of their terminally sick children. A nurse runs backwards and forwards, arms always flowering a rescue of newborns, out into the city searching for other life and more help. Electricity cut, cables split, slashing across the pavement. What is there to return to in the rubble? Much like life after a shock blast, everything just fell down, as if a gravity belt had been pierced, calling a whole fleet of people to hobble on foot to hospitals where piles of corpses toppled at entrances with makeshift bandages, wailing, bloody faces amongst children, bricks, dust, and metals. Hurtling forwards in the air, journalists look for passports, pens, their breath, and sturdy shoes, as over 100 miles away on the island of Cyprus, locals felt the blitz. Some stilled, some were slightly shoved sideways. What happens when your world collapses? Through the Casper dark night, the names of the missing or wounded are channeled through distant screens. In the background, buried limbs start protruding through rock. As you sleep, then cannot sleep, the alive feel lucky to be alive. But where to sprint now when in uninhabitable homes keep crumbling possessions? Unluckiest brothers and sisters, there to weep and there to witness the demise of your country in minutes, as the firefighters and the healers raced over what had been exposed without little or any warning. The smoke reached Damascus as the skeleton of buildings shot seismic iron rods and geometric disarray in still frame, post-eruption, signaling more grief and some clear sense of a disaster worse than war. Calamity in the capital city of Lebanon. I send out my condolences in healing prayer and song. Let's end with love or desire, which sometimes I think is just as potent as love. This song is called, perhaps tonight I'm singing. Perhaps you all are. Siphon. Snare on the fourth pulse. You take me underwater, where the shadows of sharks graze forgotten shipwrecks. The heart all petrol spill, androgen and tempo, synthesized diaphanous lungs. And we are in that bar again, all tongue-tied then tipsy, in the Neptunian dark of the date's end. My fingers press into your body, half expecting to surface on the other side, thread through like a nail-slit daisy chain, palm temperature fit for ceremony. A scriptorium of futuristic mannequins line the main street windows facing home. A faint nimbus of subserrated rainstorm illuminates a planetarium of medusae. Your scent over my clothes, siphons to meet my pillow's last lullaby, and my mouth keeps me awake with the prophecies scored in braille by our kiss. Thank you.